Full lethal sanction enabled. Opposition is Black Sector threat. Repeat, Black Sector threat. Geneva Convention restrictions lifted.
What do you get when you combine a legendary handgun design with a powerful handgun round? You get the LAR Grizzly Mark V pistol. The 1911 is a weapon that needs no introduction. The brainchild of legendary firearms designer John Moses Browning, it was created during a time where self-loading pistols were uncommon but needed. It holds 7 rounds and fires the .45 Colt automatic pistol round. And after a series of tests, the 1911 was adopted by the United States Army in 1911. It would be easier to list the conflicts that the 1911 has not been used in. A vast number of organizations and individuals across the world have trusted their lives to the 1911, from the Americans, the British, and even— What the fuck?! Even though the 1911 is arguably outdated by today's handgun standards, it still sees use in conflicts globally. And on the civilian side, the handgun is ever popular in competitions and other purposes. With the popularity of the 1911 came an explosion of aftermarket parts, triggers, sights, grip panels. If it was a 1911 part, there was most likely an aftermarket replacement. There were so many that it seemed like you could build a 1911 exclusively from custom parts. And indeed, people did. From individuals working in their garage to full-fledged businesses, the latter 20th century was the golden era of 1911 builders. It was in this era that one American company got their start. LAR Manufacturing was founded in 1968 and started out as a company that manufactured firearm parts, such as bipods and M16 uppers. With the amount of machinery they acquired, they soon realized that they could manufacture firearms on their own. And so, they did. Choosing the 1911 as a starting point, they designed an overbuilt version of the handgun that could fire rounds larger than .45 ACP. This meant special parts were needed, an enlarged grip, heavier recoil spring, and other custom parts made for the pistol. But being designed primarily for the civilian market, the handgun is actually mostly compatible with common 1911 parts. After all, no one wants to go and buy proprietary parts that can become difficult to find. The handgun was first designed to fire the .45 Winchester Magnum round, and LAR also offered caliber conversion kits that could convert the handgun to fire a number of different rounds. The handgun was revealed to the public in the 1980s and hit the market soon after, and thus, the LAR Grizzly Mark I was born. By all accounts, Grizzly was a handgun well liked by those who bought it. It was an overbuilt 1911 that was hand-fitted with all parts constructed to very tight tolerances, all hallmarks of a quality 1911 build. The Grizzly would see more variants produced, the Mark II, III, IV, and V. The Mark V is arguably the most robust, designed to handle the 50 Action Express cartridge. 50 Action Express is one of the most powerful handgun cartridges to date, and while some of the more outlandish claims about the round are simply untrue, it certainly packs a punch. After all, it was designed to take down big game, so of course, it has no trouble doing incredible damage to a person. But while it's certainly powerful, 50 Action Express has never seen much serious use among professional organizations or hunters alike. In terms of practicality, most other rounds are less expensive, have less recoil, and perform better ballistically. It's perhaps for this reason that the Grizzly Mark V wasn't very popular either. 50 Action Express is an incredibly expensive round, and that's a lot of money to spend just to mess around on the range. The Grizzly Mark V itself is also a very expensive handgun. Hand-fitted parts with machined surfaces certainly isn't a downside. We've all been reminded recently of how important it is to have machined surfaces in the internals of a handgun. But of course, these processes cost a lot of money. And for most people, an expensive handgun firing an expensive and impractical round just doesn't make much sense. In Ready or Not, the Grizzly Mark V holds 7 rounds of 50 Action Express, just like the real thing. It doesn't have many attachments, one conventional laser, and this thing. What may look like a scope is in fact a laser. For those of you who weren't raised on an iPad, you probably recognize this laser from the movie The Terminator. But while its claim to fame was the result of a science fiction film, this laser is a very real attachment. Sort of. Nowadays, the company Surefire is known for making a large assortment of weapon-mounted lights, but that wasn't always what they were called. Previously known as Laser Products Corporation, they were responsible for one of the world's first laser aiming sights. While laser aiming modules are a common sight today, in the early 80s, this was revolutionary. Being able to point a laser at a target and fire, instead of having to line up a front and rear sight, was considered by many to be a huge advantage. The company provided a number of these lasers to the LAPD, who utilized them while on security detail during the 1984 Summer Olympics. And it was during this international gathering that a Hollywood prop master noticed the laser sights. So, this prop master reached out to Laser Products Corporation to make a laser sight for a movie he was working on. Ed Reynolds, the inventor of the original LPC laser sight, created 2 sets of laser sights for the handgun. Specifically, a sight that would fit an AMT Hardballer 45 long slide. One was a non-functioning model meant for use in promotional material, but the other one was a very much functional laser sight. Kind of. The laser itself did function. The beam in the movie is the real beam projected from the laser sight, but the power source is not a part of the sight. Rather, the laser is powered by a 10,000 volt power supply hidden under Arnold's jacket. Fun fact, the reason why you never see Arnold have both hands on the handgun is that his other hand is pressing a button to activate the laser within his clothing. So yes, at one point in time, Surefire was asked to make a laser sight for a sci-fi movie in which a robot uses it to hunt and kill a single mother. Has this sight ever been used by law enforcement? No. In fact, it wouldn't even work the way it's depicted in Ready or Not, since it has no power source. But it's a retro throwback, and therefore, incredibly cool. In this modern age where people feel the need to argue over every aspect of modern laser aiming modules, I'm glad that there's an older laser option in Ready or Not, even if it's unrealistic. So, combine the old and classy laser sight with a powerful semi-auto handgun, and you have the best pistol in Ready or Not. This weapon easily drops suspects in 1 to 2 rounds. It doesn't matter whether they have armor or not, the Mark V will put them down. But its benefits aren't just because of its damage. Even if you don't down a suspect with 1 shot, they'll usually be stunned, giving you time to land a follow-up shot or yell for compliance. The lower capacity of the Mark V mags doesn't matter when each suspect only takes a few rounds to handle. The iron sights on the Mark V are perfectly adequate, but with the laser sight, the handgun becomes incredibly easy to use. Just point the laser at what you want to hit, and fire. You could use the Mark V as a backup to your primary, or you can forego a primary entirely and use the Mark V as your main weapon. 10 mags is more than enough for most missions. It is that good. The Mark V is the best of both worlds. It looks incredibly cool and performs exceptionally well in-game. One-tapping armed suspects has never been more fun, and has never looked as stylish. Not only is the Mark V the best handgun in the game, it is one of the best guns in Ready or Not, period. If you're trying to beat levels and don't care about S ranks, you need to try this weapon. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to check out my previous video on all the less lethal options in Ready or Not.